So welcome to this brief demo on integrating enterprise architecture and Simulink into IBM Jazz. And here is the demo story for today. So we have some models in Enterprise Architect and in MATLAB Simulink. We published them to SmartFacts, basically a middleware platform that integrates with IBM Jazz via OSLC and helps us to easily manage links between Doors Next and the authoring tools. So let's jump right into the demo. So here I am in Doors Next, and let's start right away and add some links. So I select this requirement 335 and say we want to add a link traced by architecture element. Now I get an extensive picker that allows to select from my content, from my favorites. I can search across all my projects. I can navigate into all the model trees, can do a version diff, and here I'm going to use history to select an enterprise architect diagram, add that. So we have linked 335 to an EA diagram. But in many cases, we don't really want to link to a whole diagram. We want to link to an artifact inside the diagram. So let's do that. Let's pick the same one and just zoom in and say, well, we will link to infotainment gateway. Add that one. And now we should also do another one. Let's take a different link type. This time satisfies by architecture element. And we will select a demo model from the MathWorks, so MATLAB Simulink, and add that link. So quite easily we have added 3 links, and when I do a rich hover on the first one, that was a diagram, then I get that diagram. That's the enterprise architect diagram. I can zoom in, I can examine all the details. I can use extended functionality, like can expand that pane here, and that allows to, for instance, click into the diagram. I get all the details that are behind that element. I can even do a version comparison and say, well, I want to do a diff between this version and version 1. And here I get all the details highlighted. So green elements were added and blue ones have been changed. I can start commenting and so on. So there is some advanced functionality. So this was linking to a diagram. The second one we had added was infotainment gateway. So that's only a model element. And therefore we get a property grid. And here is a referenced by column. So in this column, we get the information where that element is actually used, in which diagram, and I can click on that lens, and this will show me where in the diagram I have actually linked to. And okay, so the third one, that was the SL demo clutch. I can also do a rich hover on that one, and that will show the MATLAB Simulink diagram. Okay, so let's look on the other side. We have added those links from Doors Next. Of course, they are bi-directional. Here I am in the authoring tool, and when I click on the links tab of our SmartFacts plugin, then here we have traces requirement. We had on the other side, we had added a link traced by architecture element. And here are the 2 links. So infotainment gateway links to requirement 335, and the whole diagram components EE architecture also links to 335. And when I go on the requirement and select local viewer, then I am even able to see the whole texture requirement as a delegated UI inside Enterprise Architect. Okay, so that was pretty easy. You can add also links from this side using the plus. You can also add links from within Enterprise Architect. This is very similar to what we have done here. And we can, of course, also delete the links from Enterprise Architect. Now, having seen how easy it is to add links from Doors Next and edit them in the authoring tools, in the modeling tools, I'd like to draw your attention to SmartFacts, our middleware. And when I added a link in Doors Next, I used the global configuration. And this global configuration, just show it here. Up here you have your global configuration. We can look into that global configuration, and here we see um, two models, the MATLAB model and the Enterprise Architect model. And when you go on to SmartFacts, then you are also able to select that global configuration. And here we click on the icon and see what's inside that global configuration. And now I'd like to see the Enterprise Architect model on the left side and the textual requirements on the right side. And yeah, let's select a module here, and we say we want to expand the first three um, levels. And here in the model, we want to see our components diagram, and we load that to the left. Okay, so that was quick and easy. And here we see our links. So we have linked from Infotainment Gateway, and we have linked from the overall diagram to 335. And here you see in one-to-one, you see the Doors Next requirements, same rich text, formatting, colors, images, tables, everything is in there. So it's a really one-to-one representation. And adding links is really easy. We just select an item on the left, model element, and a requirement on the right, and then we just say we want to add a link, and just click on generate, and here is the link. So very easy to add links, manage links when you have a large variety of links that have to be maintained. Okay, so that's model to text, and of course we can even also add model to model links here. So I open the MATLAB Simulink diagram here and say we want to load our diagram to the right, and maybe these two blocks are equivalent, and so we could select an is equivalent link type and say we want to generate that is equivalent link here. Okay, now let's have a look what happened on the Enterprise Architect side. I'm in the links tab, and when I update that, then here we have our is equivalent link. So we see we have linked head unit to the to the MATLAB Simulink diagram, and when I open the local viewer, then I can see that or trace into that MATLAB Simulink diagram inside Enterprise Architect. So very convenient to seamlessly navigate into the Enterprise Architect diagram. And I can even say, well, take me into the model tree of that Simulink model, and here we are. So this is the model tree, and I can basically select any item here and open that item, the friction model, for instance, inside Enterprise Architect. So there are no barriers anymore between tools. You can basically access any engineering information within any work environment. But also here we are able to load the requirements into Enterprise Architect. We do exactly the same thing as we've done in SmartFacts, and you see you have one-to-one a one-to-one representation of requirements inside Enterprise Architect. Also here here is rich text, here are the images, tables, everything is here formatted just as we know it from from doors next. Also here we can select the requirement on the right side and the model element on the left side and say we want to add a link, and this will take us into the link definition window, and we can quickly generate a link. Okay, so finally, we might be interested in an analysis. So what are the links, or how is the coverage of requirements when we're looking at certain stereotypes in our model? And so in our analysis center, we can easily do a link coverage analysis and say, well, um, we're interested in wait a second, this is the model we had used. So we select the model as a context, and we say we want to look at all these OSLC link types, and we're interested which ECUs within that model, so that's the stereotype, which model elements of the stereotype ECU are linked through one of these OSLC link types with textual requirements. And we just start the analysis, and here is the result. So infotainment gateway is linked to two requirements, 335 and 564, and by hovering on it we can easily follow the information and understand, okay, this infotainment gateway is actually linked to this textual requirement, and we always get the delegated UI. So that's the full beauty of OSLC here, and we can easily understand how our SysML model is linked to requirements. And of course, we can do also the complementary analysis and say, show me all elements of type ECU that do not have links of this type with textual requirements. And when I start this analysis, okay, then we see we have quite some work to do. So this element, for instance, the electronic ignition starter switch, should be linked to a textual requirement. And so we know what we have to do, and can get to work. So I'd like to come back to PowerPoint. What have we seen? We've seen Enterprise Architect and MATLAB Simulink models being published to SmartFacts. We've seen the plugins of those tools that help to maintain the links. We've seen how SmartFacts integrates with IBM Jazz via OSLC. So we have taken Doors Next as an example, but it's also possible to link artifacts of the engineering quality management, so test cases and test suites, or work items from the engineering workflow management component. We've done quite some work in the area of OSLC, and so there are other add-ons already and OSLC providers we have developed for Jira and for Confluence. Good. So the most important points, our integration is OSLC based and does bidirectional and versioned links. All requirements are in a one-to-one representation in your modeling tool, so you find them in the full beauty, rich text, images, tables. We support global configuration management. We support link validity. Both of these points are, I think, very important when it comes to engineering efficiency. Very powerful concepts. We integrate with Jazz reporting services via TRS, so you can synchronize model artifacts to LQE and use them in the Jazz reporting services. And we have some ad hoc analysis in the analysis center, like traceability analysis. Okay, so SmartFacts is the platform where you can improve coexistence of tools, basically. So whatever you have, if it's Cameo, Enterprise Architect, Magic Draw, MATLAB Simulink, you're able to bring all these tools into the Jazz world and also link artifacts between those tools and across tool boundaries. We have a second concept, Tubas, which actually migrates content. So you migrate, for instance, a UML model from one tool to the other, and this helps you to, yeah, for instance, migrate an enterprise architect model to Rhapsody. So you can use your tools of choice, MATLAB and enterprise architect, from day one on in the context of Jazz. But whenever you want to decide to migrate to the Rhapsody tool family, then there is a way to do that, and Tubas can help with migrating that content. So Tubas, just a few words, is an extensive concept to migrate models at a very high quality. We read the modeling files via the native API. Then we have the actual bus, which is a flexible transformation matrix. And finally, we write those transformed files again via the native APIs into the target tool format. So there is an extensive number of tools we covered today. So it's almost 70, I think, tools that are supported by Toolbus. And today we work especially, or we focus very much on a new SysML Toolbus to help exchange models between Cameo, Magic Draw, Rhapsody, and Enterprise Architect. The bus is bidirectional, so you can convert any format into any target format. Okay, so these two complementary strategies, coexistence of tools and migration of content, will help you to to leverage your tools of choice today and from day one on when you start working with Jazz, and long term there's always the possibility also to migrate your content to Rhapsody. Thank you for watching.